How to build a well-diversified portfolio for under 15 basis points per year. I'll cover 3 areas today. I'll cover what a basis point is. I'll present 3 portfolios from Vanguard and 3 from Blackrock, and I'll talk about how to build the portfolio. Let me define what a basis point is. 1 basis point is 1/100th of a percentage point. So 100 basis points is 1 full percentage point. If the cost of your portfolio is 2% per year, you are paying 200 basis points of the value of your portfolio in cost per year. So let me show you Vanguard Canada Portfolio 1, Growth. This is for the growth portion of your overall portfolio. The ticker is VCE. This is the Canadian market. Weight it at 30%. It has a total cost of 6 basis points. VFV is the US market. Weight it at 36%. It has a cost of 8 basis points. VIU is non-North American developed markets, so largely England, Europe, and Japan, and Australia. Weight it at 29%. It has a total cost of 22 basis points. And the last is VEE. This is emerging markets. Weight it at 5%. It has a total cost of 24 basis points. This is a growth portfolio using passively managed exchange-traded funds. The ETFs buy shares or partial ownership of companies in the various geographical regions. You are ultimately buying ownership of the companies that the ETFs invest in. How these companies perform is how the ETF will perform, and therefore how your investment in the ETF will perform. Mutual funds work like this. Because these are offered by Vanguard Canada, all are priced in Canadian dollars and trade on the Toronto Stock Exchange. You don't have to calculate a currency conversion to buy the products. You will have exposure to foreign currencies once you own the products, which is good. This reduces your exposure to the Canadian dollar. Most of what you own and earn is priced and paid in Canadian dollars. As Canadians, we are naturally overexposed to fluctuations in the Canadian dollar. Take gas, for example. If the dollar falls, the price at the pump is most likely higher. The same is true with every product that is imported, and many non-imported final products that comprise imported components. Holding investments in other countries mitigates the natural overexposure to changes in the Canadian dollar. Also, and more important, there are sectors in the Canadian economy that are significantly underrepresented. Technology and healthcare are examples. If you want investment exposure to these and other sectors, you have to invest outside of Canada. I'll talk about this more when we look at the individual products closer. Vanguard Canada Portfolio 2, Safety. VSB is the ticker. This is a short-term bond index fund. Weight it at 50%. It has a total cost of 11 basis points. VSC, Vanguard Short-Term Corporate Bond. Weight it at 50%. It also has a total cost of 11 basis points. The ETFs lend money to Canadian governments and Canadian corporations. The governments and corporations promise to pay the fund's interest and promise to pay the principal back when the term expires. The fund is investing in bonds of Canadian governments and Canadian corporations, and therefore you are investing in bonds of Canadian governments and Canadian corporations. Short term means all bonds within each of the 2 products mature soon. They don't hold bonds that mature in 30 years. If you think interest rates will eventually rise, you want short-term bonds. The ETFs collect the interest and the principal and pass the proceeds on to you. Every investor should have a combination of growth and safety. I'll do a video on how to come to a reasonable mix soon. This is as much art as it is science. Total cost is between 11 and 12.3 basis points, regardless of the combination of the 2 portfolios. Here are 2 portfolios from Blackrock Canada. You may recognize Blackrock better under the banner of iShares. All products, like the Vanguard products, are passively managed, meaning their goal is to mimic the investment performance of the underlying benchmark. So here's the portfolio. XIC, that's Canadian market. weight it at 30%, total cost 6 basis points. XUU, that's the US market, weight it at 36%, total cost 7 basis points. XEF, that is Europe, Asia, Far East developed, so largely Japan, UK, and some European countries, and Australia, weight it at 29%, total cost is 22 basis points. And XEC, emerging markets, weight it at 5%, total cost is 25 basis points. Blackrock Canada Portfolio 2, safety, XSQ, short-term high-quality Canadian bond, weighted at 100%, total cost 14 basis points. This portfolio is extremely similar to the Vanguard portfolio. If the breakdown between growth and safety is the same, the Vanguard and Blackrock portfolios will have similar performance. Here is a growth portfolio from Vanguard instead of Vanguard Canada. This portfolio is similar to the Vanguard growth portfolio above, except these are products offered in the US. You can still buy them, but they are priced in US dollars. VCE remains the same. There are a few advantages to this portfolio compared to the Vanguard Canada portfolio. Cost at 8.3 basis points versus 12.3 basis points is 1/3 less expensive. Another advantage relates to withholding tax on US dividends. I won't get into the weeds on this, but suffice it to say that in an RSP, a RIF, or any of its derivatives, you get to keep 100% of dividends passed to you from US companies, compared to 85% from US companies in a Canadian domiciled US equity fund like VFB. If you want to know more about this, ask in the comments section. There are a few differences between the Vanguard and Vanguard Canada growth portfolios. VCE is underweighted because the VEA invests approximately 8.2% of its money in Canadian equity. VEA invests in developed markets outside of the US, whereas the VIU invests in developed markets outside of North America. In either portfolio, you will still buy 30% of Canadian companies. VTI is a broader US equity ETF compared to the VFV in the Vanguard Canada portfolio, but they will track each other closely. VTI is a slightly better US market product, but its Canadian counterpart has a cost disadvantage, so I substitute the VFV in the Vanguard Canada portfolio. A couple of disadvantages to the Vanguard growth portfolio over the Vanguard Canada growth portfolio are you will need to do a currency conversion to buy the VTI, the VEA, and the VWO products because they are priced in US dollars. I'll show you how. You need to have your accounts hold US dollars. You don't want each dividend payment to be converted to Canadian dollars. Each conversion is subject to a small cost. Let your US dollars build and then either convert one time or invest back into the US dollar priced products. Rebalancing will necessitate this. The Blackrock growth portfolio, with a cost of 5.95 basis points, has a cost advantage relative to Blackrock Canada and to the Vanguard portfolio. A similar all-equity, geographically diverse portfolio of mutual funds would cost well north of 2%. Most mutual fund portfolios with a similar breakdown would cost more than 240 basis points, or 2.4%. 6 basis points is 40 times less expensive than 240 basis points. I won't go through the Blackrock portfolio, you can see it for yourself. I use $100,000 as a nice, large, round number to illustrate the portfolios, but you could build this portfolio with as little as $20,000, maybe $25,000. Now let's build the portfolio. Let's use the Vanguard Canada portfolio as an example. Let's assume you have $80,000 to invest, and let's assume we know that you want 70% in growth and 30% in safety. So step one, 70% times $80,000 equals $56,000 into the growth portfolio. 30% times $80,000 equals $24,000 into the safety portfolio. That is step one. Step two, let's fill out the portfolios. So $56,000 times 30% equals $16,800 into the VCE. $56,000 times 36% equals $20,160 into the VFV. $16,240 into the VIU. $2,800 into the VEE. Now the safety portion of the portfolio. 50% times $24,000 equals $12,000 into VSB, and $24,000 times 50% again equals $12,000 into VSC. There is your total portfolio. So you would buy $16,800 of VCE, you would buy $20,160 of VFV, and so on. This portfolio would have a total cost of 11.9 basis points per year. If nothing changed, if prices didn't change or value didn't change, the total dollar cost of this portfolio would be $94.98. If it goes up 10%, well, you're paying 11.9 basis points on something 10% higher, so the total cost goes up. This works in reverse if value falls. Now, we look up the current prices for the products and determine how many shares to buy. VCE is trading at $33.33 Canadian per share, so $16,800 divided by 33.33 equals 504 shares. Round down to 500 shares and you buy 500 shares of VCE. VFV is trading at $57.82 per share, so $20,160 divided by 57.82 equals 348 shares. Round down to 345 shares and buy them. I'll fast forward to VSB. VSB currently trades at $24.39 per share, so $12,000 divided by 24.39 equals 492 shares. Round down to 490 and buy them. You buy the shares through your online or discount broker. To place the buys, you would call them, or better yet, enter the trade yourself online. My discount broker charges $10 per trade, so a $60 one-time charge to get this done. They will help you through the process if you ask. Let's do the same with the Blackrock portfolio. Let's assume the same $80,000 portfolio. Let's assume the same 70-30 breakdown between growth and safety. And let's assume the Canadian dollar buys 0.7404 US dollars, or 1 Canadian dollar buys 74 cents US dollars. So the growth portfolio, XIC, this trades in Canada, so you don't have to do a conversion. $56,000 times 30% equals $16,800 into XIC. ITOT, the US market, we want to buy $20,160 Canadian of ITOT. We need to buy $14,933 US dollars of ITOT. IEFA, that's the rest of the world developed markets. We want to buy $16,240 Canadian of IEFA. We need to buy $12,029 US dollars of IEFA. IEMG, that's emerging markets, we want to buy $2,800 of that. We need to buy $2,074 US dollars of IEMG. How to calculate the number of shares to buy. XIC is currently trading at $24.48. We want $16,800 worth of XIC. So $16,800 divided by $24.48 gets us to roughly 685 shares, and then you round down to 680. How to find the current market price? Google XIC, and that should do it. If not, Google XIC space ETF, and that will get you to numerous websites that show the current market price. ITOT trades in the US. We want $14,933 US dollars worth of ITOT. It's trading at $55.01. That gets us to 271 shares, and you round down to 270. IEFA 12,029 trades in the US. It's currently priced at $61.77 US. That gets us to 194 shares. You round down to 190. And I'll leave it at that. You don't need to be exact. It's better to round down than round up. You don't want to run out of money to buy these. There will likely be a small cash balance remaining. As a result, that's fine. Let the cash sit there. And again, you can Google the ticker to get the current market price.